So get this HOA treasure parks her $60,000 BMW dead center in my garage without even asking, then has the gall to fine me $200 for leaving my garage door open overnight. I'm dragging myself home after a 12-hour shift. Sweat sawdust grease still clinging to me, my boots crunching on the driveway, and there it is. Her pearl white SUV smack in the middle of my sanctuary, my workbench, my tools, the smell of her fancy leather mixed with motor oil, her car alarm giving me that smug little chirp like, yeah, I belong here. I just about lost it right then and there. But when I ask her politely, mind you to move, Brenda waves some imaginary emergency parking rule in my face and tells me maybe I ought to learn about community cooperation. 6 weeks later, she's sobbing into my voicemail, begging me not to foreclose on her house while half the neighborhood stands outside watching her whole little empire burn down. But before I get to how I ended up owning her house, let me ask you, ever been steamrolled by some petty authority just because they could drop your location below because I want to see how many of us are sick and tired of being pushed around? Name's Jake Morrison. 34, electrician single dad to Emma, my 8-year-old who's with me every other weekend. 2 years ago, I thought buying my first house in Willowbrook Estates was a dream come true. I'd scrimped and saved, lived on ramen, did every overtime shift I could just to buy a modest 3-bedroom with a 2-car garage, that garage man that was my prize. Smelled like sawdust, copper wire, and my granddad's old aftershave. His workbench still had the dents from building half the neighborhood's furniture back in the day. That garage was supposed to be my fortress, my spot to build Emma's treehouse, not a showroom for Brenda's luxury cars. Willowbrook seemed perfect on paper. Middle-class homes, $180 a month for basic HOA upkeep, simple rules, or so I thought. Keep your lawn neat, don't paint your house neon, mind your business. That illusion shattered the second I met Brenda Whitfield, 52, driving a car worth more than my house, living in a corner McMansion with a circular driveway that just screams, I own you. HOA treasurer, self-appointed dictator of suburban perfection, and her husband Brad city planning. She'd name-drop him like it was a magic spell. Picture her hair never out of place, designer everything, smile colder than my garage, in January clipboard welded to her hand. The kind of person who'd measure your grass height with one hand while texting code violations with the other. My first real Brenda encounter. 6 months in, I'm helping Mrs. Chen, the sweet old lady down the street, put up safety lights after some break-ins. Suddenly I feel this shadow and hear the click of heels on concrete Brenda perfume cloud, and all staring down her nose. Excuse me, I don't see a permit posted for this work. I show her my state license offer to explain the codes. She goes, I'll need to verify with my husband. We simply cannot have questionable contractors compromising our property values. The way she said questionable made me want to shove my calloused hands right in her face. 12 years in the trade, and I'm still not good enough because I drive a work truck instead of a German import. From then on, she turned HOA enforcement into a full-time job. Dawn patrols, violation notebooks, snapping pictures of kids' bikes, trash cans left out, you name it. But she really had it in for folks who didn't fit her vision. Mrs. Chen got cited for wind chimes that honored her late veteran husband, Tom Rodriguez, for parking his work truck on his own property. The neighborhood started treating the sound of Brenda's heels like an air raid siren, blinds twitching, kids scattering. Even Emma asked once, Daddy, why does the mean, pretty lady always look like she smells something yucky? Out of the mouths of babes, right? Me. I tried to keep my head down, kept my grass trimmed, parked my van on the street, followed every nitpicky rule. But that Tuesday, after a brutal 12-hour job at a medical clinic, lives literally depending on my work, I come home and see Brenda's BMW dead center in my garage, perfectly parked, 6 inches clearance either side, so tight you'd scratch my workbench, just getting out. Her perfume hung in the air, fighting with the honest smells of sweat and oil, making my stomach turn. I stood there just staring, wondering if I'd finally lost it from exhaustion. The car chirps again, and I get this feeling this is a power move. I find Brenda herself sitting in my patio chair, phone in hand, acting like she's on the HOA throne. I keep my cool. "Ma'am, there's a car in my garage." She goes, "Emergency maintenance on my driveway. HOA emergency parking clause, community cooperation." I'm scrolling through the HOA docs on my phone, no such clause. "Well," she says, smoothing her skirt, "I'm reviewing the bylaws. Consider this a pilot program." I start recording. "So you admit this clause doesn't exist and you're using my garage without permission?" Her face goes pale. "You can't record me." "Actually, I can. One-party consent state." She tries to grab my phone. "Brad will hear about this." "Good. Let's see what city planning has to say about fake HOA rules." Next morning, there's a violation notice taped to my door, garage left open, $75 fine, escalating to $200 if I don't pay up. Handwritten note. "Maybe next time you'll be more cooperative." B. I call my buddy Derek, real estate attorney. He laughs so hard he chokes on his coffee. "She just handed you evidence of harassment. You want to win? Check the HOA formation documents at the county office. Find out what real power they have." So during lunch, I'm digging through musty old papers in the county courthouse, that mix of burnt coffee and bureaucracy. And what I find turns out the HOA's claim over my garage is based on a preliminary survey. My actual deed trumps that, and I own 18 inches more than the plat map shows. Brenda's little kingdom just got a hole blown through its walls. Meanwhile, Brenda goes nuclear, blasts an email to the whole neighborhood Jake's garage is a security risk board's reviewing enforcement. My daughter calls excited for treehouse time. Is the mean lady being mean again? Yeah, baby, but Daddy's learning how to be mean back. Friday, her BMW is still squatting in my garage, and now there's a Mercedes next to it. My supply cabinet's been padlocked, my tools scattered, sticky note on Granddad's vice temporary relocation for client staging. Community cooperation appreciated, BW. That metallic taste of rage hits me, but instead of bolt cutters, I call the police. Trespassing, possible theft. Officer Martinez shows up, listens, takes photos. "Sir, this looks like harassment. Mind if I talk to the vehicle owner?" Watching Brenda try to explain herself to the cops was better than cable. Her voice rising, excuses piling up, Martinez's pen just ticking off the seconds to her downfall. "Ma'am, property deed trumps HOA agreement every time. Remove your vehicles before this becomes criminal." That afternoon, I'm at the county surveyor's office. Janet, the clerk, pulls up my survey. "Oh, honey, you own all of this. That garage is completely yours." Brenda's foundation just crumbled. By Saturday, she's called an emergency HOA meeting, neighborhood Facebook, blowing up her little campaign, backfiring when Mrs. Chen Tom and Sarah Mitchell start posting their own receipts. Even Officer Martinez's wife jumps in with a funny, "how some people think badges give them rights" comment. Sunday, I wake up to a city towing notice on my work van. Apparently, I'm violating commercial vehicle restrictions only. My van's legally parked on the street, and Brenda's husband, Brad, is pulling city planning strings to invent violations. Emma calls again. "Daddy, can we work on my treehouse?" Absolutely. And it's about to get even bigger. Monday's HOA meeting feels like a circus. 3 board members in the elementary cafeteria, Brenda front and center in a navy blazer. She slides over a motion for retroactive fines, $800 for unauthorized garage usage. I hit her with the big one. Show me the HOA's insurance for these enforcement powers. Silence you could carve with a fork. "Those documents are being reviewed by legal counsel," Brenda says. "No problem," I reply, spreading out county records and insurance docs. Turns out, the HOA's policy excludes personal business activities, and I've documented $23,000 in financial discrepancies, fake invoices, storm cleanup, billed twice, city-paid tree removal, charged to the HOA, and twist Brad's official emails recommending pressure on problem properties. Now the whole board looks like they just saw a ghost. Next morning, Derek calls. Jake, you sitting down? Brenda's got 2 pending complaints on her real estate license. She's underwater on her mortgage. And Brad is under state ethics review for conflict of interest. Oh, and there's a 6-month investigation into systematic corruption, city planners, real estate agents, and HOA boards manipulating property values and forcing quick sales. My garage isn't just a parking spot, it's Exhibit A in a federal fraud investigation. This was never about parking. This was organized crime hiding behind HOA clipboards. Time to build team justice. Mrs. Chen, military widow, documentation queen, hands over a shoebox of receipts. Tom, combat vet and security guy, has mapped Brenda's movements, tracked her harassment schedule. Sarah Mitchell, 3rd grade teacher with spreadsheets, runs the Facebook group like a surveillance op. Derek draws up the legal battle plan, state real estate board complaint evidence to the Attorney General. Civil lawsuit for civil rights violations. Then he hits me with the genius move, take your vacation, disappear for 2 weeks. Let Brenda reveal herself to the whole neighborhood. So I pack up Emma, head to Yellowstone, and let the real games begin. Day 3 in the mountains, I get a message from Tom. She's lost her mind. Brenda tries to break in my garage with a crowbar, calls a locksmith for an emergency inspection, then brings out a city electrical inspector lying about dangerous wiring. Only Frank the inspector is a buddy. He asks for her license, then threatens her with charges for filing a false report. Tom's got it all on camera, motion, night vision, cloud backup, the whole 9 yards. Day 9. Sarah calls Brenda hired a burglar. Tom catches a guy with bolt cutters, gets him to admit on police body cam that Brenda paid him $200 cash to retrieve staging materials. The charges pile up: attempted burglary, conspiracy, bribery. The state attorney general raids Brenda's house at dawn. Brad gets arrested at work, and the evidence haul is straight out of a Netflix docuseries. Bank records, target lists, racist and classist notes about homeowners. We come home to news vans, police tape, and Brenda's BMW still sitting in my garage like a trophy. Tom meets me at the curb with a folder full of evidence. Channel 7 wants an interview and the neighborhood is buzzing. The community accountability meeting packs the cafeteria. Derek announces the civil settlement, $12,000 plus a legal defense fund for any homeowner targeted by HOA abuse. Mrs. Chen is in tears. Tom gives a speech about standing up for working families. And then cherry on top, they play Brenda's voicemails for everyone demands threats, bargaining, and finally a breakdown about just wanting control, trying to fix her marriage, begging me to make it all go away. Officer Martinez stands up. Justice isn't always pretty, but it's necessary. I get asked for the final word. Sometimes standing up for the little things like your own garage ends up protecting everyone's right to exist in their own neighborhood. 3 minutes of applause, Emma clapping until her hands turn red. 6 months later, Emma's treehouse is finished 18 inches past Brenda's claimed property line just because we can. The Legal Defense Fund helps 3 more families. Mrs. Chen teaches record-keeping workshops. Tom's elected to the new HOA board. Sarah starts a YouTube channel on homeowner rights. Derek's swamped with cases and property values actually go up. Brenda and Brad get federal sentences, their house sells at auction, and Willowbrook turns into a real community, not just a collection of houses. So here's the kicker. This all started with one entitled neighbor parking where she didn't belong. It ended with the biggest HOA fraud bust in state history. Sometimes the biggest changes start by defending the smallest spaces. Tell me your HOA nightmare story. Below, who knows, maybe your fight is the spark someone else needs. Subscribe, ring that bell, and come back next week because I've got a story about a city inspector, too many books, and a librarian who turned the law upside down. And remember, Emma's treehouse rules still apply. No mean people allowed.